My name is Brandy Ray, and this is my story of addiction and recovery and how I ended up on probation and involved with the Department of Community Supervision and the steps that I've taken, DRC, and my plans for the future. I was born in this area. I was born in Washington, Georgia, which is like 30 minutes from here. I actually went to school here at a private school just down the road. I was raised by my grandparents. There's a lot of addiction in my family. My father was an alcoholic. My mother was an alcoholic. My father, actually, that's what he passed away from. My grandparents were alcoholics. My sister is an addict, and she's actually been to prison. My uncle is currently in prison. So there has been a lot of addiction and trials and tribulation in my family. I've been around it for a long time. I swore as a kid that I would never be involved with anything like that, but as with most things, life happens, life gets in the way. And I was a pretty good student in school. I graduated high school and went to college. I have about 2 years of college under my belt. I went to Augusta State. And in college, that's where my drug use kind of began. I started off with, smoking weed, drinking, but that kind of segued into things like cocaine and pills and things like that. And I had it under control for a while until I was in my mid-20s. And when things really went off the rails is when I started doing meth. And that's where, all of my problems really began. I ended up getting in trouble with the law, and that is how I ended up on probation. I had a possession charge for methamphetamine, and I did a little bit of jail time, and here I am. And then I was put in DRC after failing a drug test after I got put on probation, and that is how I ended up in DRC.
So Miss Ray started off as obviously a case where she had been convicted for a drug offense. She was actually convicted in Florida before she was convicted in Georgia. And once she was picked up in Georgia for the new offense, she had to go back to Florida to go answer for those offenses. And she spent 6 months in jail in Florida before she came back to us. While she was here, before she was sentenced, within 24 hours, actually within about 4 hours, she was caught in the jail smoking a joint. So she had the quickest first offender of anybody that's ever existed. She literally her first offender was taken within a week, because there was another hearing within a week from the time she pled. So she had her first offender taken within a week. And then she went to Florida and had to serve the time while she was down there. So when she returned from Florida, obviously we have somebody who was convicted of an offense, had her first offender taken, and now was coming back from Florida where she had to serve time down there. The first thing that I asked her was, did she have a drug problem? Of course, she denied having a drug problem. She didn't have any problem like that. There was nothing like that going on with her. But after a couple of drug screens, it was pretty obvious that she had a pretty severe drug problem. She wasn't taking her medication like she was supposed to. I believe there's a video out there somewhere, if we were to be able to show it to you, of her in her room during weather like this, about 99 degrees outside. Me and another officer, when we knocked on her door and walked into her room, there was a heater running in her room because she had taken so much of her medicine that day that her blood pressure had dropped so far that she was freezing in her room. Of course, I had the female officer who was with me go in there into her room first, but I come in behind her and I asked her what's going on, and you could just see the look in her face of desperation. She didn't know. She was just doing everything she could to not feel anything at that moment. That's really where Miss Ray was. So I asked her, and we gave her the opportunity to come into DRC.
Well, DRC at first I thought was just a death sentence. I was not happy about it at all. I was not wanting to play the game. We have this thing where you go in front of a judge every month to monitor your progress and how you're doing, and you have to do drug classes, and you go to AA, and you do community service, and that all of that, mostly AA, I think really helped me a lot. They keep you on a tight leash. You're doing classes 4 times a week. You have all these hours of community service. They want you to go to AA twice a week. like I said, you check in with a judge once a month. And he told me, I remember, he said, you're either all in or all out. You have to either commit yourself totally to the program or you're not going to make it. And actually, the day that I signed my papers to go into DRC was the last time I used any drugs. And that was December 31st of 2020. And I've been clean since then. And I think that the program has helped me a lot. It does a good job of, they do a good job of integrating you back into society. Like they have you on this short leash, and then slowly but surely, as you prove to them that you can do better, and like you take drug tests twice a week, as you know, the more drug tests you pass, the more you go to AA, the more you show them that you are on the right road, they slowly loosen the restrictions, and they kind of just slowly get you back out into society. And I think it's been really helpful. AA was the most helpful thing, I believe, that they did for me. The people in AA are essentially my family. I've made so many friends. I met my boyfriend there. So it's a great program.
Well, her biggest challenge was just getting here, and like she said, she didn't present a problem, but through her body language, you can tell this wasn't where she thought she needed to be. But after some encouragement from Officer Smith, she decided to give the program a chance. And once she started getting into the program, started seeing some of the things we were saying really fit her. Some of the decision making that she was making, it fit her when she was out there. And so the more she gave it a chance, the more she became involved in the classes, speaking out and sharing her stories. And eventually she became a leader after a while. Ray has really done well and staying clean and working. And it was she wasn't looking for the job right away. But we kept encouraging her, and so it's almost been almost a year.
I think at first I was not trustworthy. I think a lot of us who are on probation or just in general are very untrustworthy and very suspicious of law enforcement or anybody involved with law enforcement. But after a while, talking to my probation officer, talking to my counselor, they let me know, if you have any issues, if you need to talk to us, you can come in here, come in the door, tell us you need to talk to us, tell us what problems you're having. I don't think there has ever been a time when I've called either one of them that they haven't answered the phone. I mean, they've always been there even just to listen. If I'm having an issue, hey, I'm thinking about using. Hey, I'm having cravings. They're like, well, come in, sit down. Let us know what's going on. Let's talk through it. Let's work through it. And yeah, I just feel like they provided me with an outlet to share how I was feeling and to figure out, what was going on with me.
So the early challenge was just her not wanting to be here, but once she saw that it was helpful to her, and the biggest part, we tell all of them, once she started sharing, that's when she really started seeing how her choices landed her where she was. It wasn't Officer Smith's fault no more. It wasn't society's fault no more. It was really, I did this to myself. And so once she opened up, then she started going to meetings outside, which we encourage them to do all the time, because especially in this area, there's not much here besides the DRC. So going to the outside meetings, meeting people that's in recovery, that's huge for them. And she did that. And up to the point where she became, she's running the meeting herself now at her home group. So once she started doing that, along with this program and in meetings, then she really just opened up, and she just blossomed to a leader toward the end of the program.
You get out of it what you put into it, and like the judge told me, it's either all in or all out. You have to really dedicate yourself to it, and you have to, like I said, you have to let go of this suspicion and this you have to put trust in these people that are really just trying to help. You just have to, if you want your life to change, you have to change your life. You have to go to AA, you have to do the classes, you have to put in the work.
And to watch what she was to where she is now, which it was always in Saturn. I want to make sure that's always said about everybody. The person that she is now has always been inside her. We just gave her the ability to be able to go from there to here now. Provide her with tools that she didn't have. But to watch her go from that to walking in the first day to being so reluctant to talk, she didn't want to talk to anybody. This was a problem that she was dealing with on her own. She never worked. She never had a job. So working was beyond her. She didn't see what the point in that was. Self-confidence. She didn't have any self-confidence at that time. She was convinced that, she was just going to exist for a while. That's what she'd been used to doing, making it day to day. Her niece lives with her because I guess her sister also has a pretty severe drug problem. So she was being charged with taking care of the niece during the day. So that was her reason for not having a job. I have to do this. My mom doesn't have anybody else to watch the child. But over and over again, I would say to her, you need something on your own. You need to take care of Brandy and only Brandy. And once you learn to take care of Brandy, everybody else will learn to take care of themselves.
Well, right now, I have a job that I love. I'm really looking forward to getting off of these restrictions, because right now I can't leave the state without, permission. I want to travel. Like I said, I love my job. I'd really love to move up in my company, but I want to travel. I want to see the world. I haven't seen a lot of it. I've never even left the United States. So I think that would be great. Europe, anywhere. I know COVID has gotten everything kind of up in the air here lately, but yeah, I want to travel. I just want to see the entire world. I just don't give up. I think it's very unfortunate that in order for me to get clean, I had to have an intervention via law enforcement. And it doesn't have to be like that, but sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes, you're not going to get right until somebody pushes you into it. Sometimes that's just what it takes sometimes. And like I said, I think it's very unfortunate that that's what happened with me. And I don't wish that on anybody. If you can get out there and do it yourself and you don't have to have legal intervention, more power to you. That's great. That's awesome. But for some people like me, that's what it took.
But you see what we see today, and I couldn't write a better story for her. To go from where she's sitting in a room freezing in 99-degree weather because she's dropped her blood pressure so low from taking medication, to sitting in front of a camera to you guys saying, everything that you've heard out of her, where she's building other people up. She's running the AA class in Washington a lot of the time. She's the signature person for other people in that class. How else could you write a better story than that?